Hey, Brandon Vuklich here with Multifamily Momentum, and I have an awesome guest partner here, Christian from Cody and Christian Multifamily. And today we're talking about, how to get into that first deal, just taking action, and knowing that it probably won't be a home run on your first one. And I wanted to get Christian in here to explain what motivated him to find his first multifamily property, what steps he took, what were maybe in his head, keeping him back from wanting to do it. So Christian, welcome. I appreciate it. I just want to kind of tell your story, because now you're a big investor with hundreds of units, which is great. And I want to talk about the first duplex you bought.
Okay.
How did you finally make the leap forward? I want to own multifamily versus Airbnb, mobile homes, whatever else you could invest in.
Mm-hmm. Well, the start of it was analysis paralysis. For everyone who complains about having that, I guarantee you I had it worse. I wanted to do this since I was in college. I picked up Brandon Turner's book, the book on rental property investing.
Yep.
I'm this is what I want to do. This totally makes sense. I just don't have any money. I don't know how to do it.
Okay.
I did the long route. I went to college, graduated college, got a sales job, used that to get a job in real estate. I worked for CoStar, LoopNetApartments.com for years. And the goal was, I'm just going to be around it so much that it just happens.
Perfect, yeah.
7 years into analyzing stuff and trying to figure out being around real estate, I was still selling product to owners who were buying data and advertising from me out of the cash flow from their tenants. And I was like, oh my goodness. It took me 7 years to figure out I'm just sitting on the wrong side of the table.
Right.
There's only one way to own real estate, which is to buy real estate. So for me, it actually took, for me to get out of my weird bubble of I just need to learn,
right.
Was COVID. My company just shut down everything. I'm an outside salesperson who can't go outside, especially in cities like Seattle. That was ridiculously hard. That was the jumping off point for me where I was like, I have to make a change. I'm just going to commit to buying one duplex this year. I talked to my wife and she was like, I can wrap my head around a duplex. Let's do this.
So it wasn't a hard sell for your wife either?
No, she, her exact words were, Christian, you hate working for other people. We need to learn how to play the game.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know what the game is, but we're going to learn it.
Good.
That's how we started.
So how did you pick a market?
So market was, I was just looking for something that was driving distance from me.
Okay.
Looking for something that had positive cash flow. I knew I'd read enough to know negative cash flow, bad. Especially after 2008 where a bunch of people went bust. I'm like, let's not do that. Let's buy an asset that moves me forward the day I close on it. That's the only thing that I decided. Driving distance, duplex, which I don't know why I limited myself to duplex. That was just my mental.
I think it's a natural start for someone to wrap their head around.
Yeah.
Right.
It might be wrong thinking though. I think a lot of people, we go through school and it's like, hey, we go to first grade to get second we go to third.
Push people, hey, buy as many doors as you can afford under one roof to start. I mean, it doesn't have to be two. It could be four because you're under residential financing still. So.
Exactly. If you guys have followed Cody's story at all, he just started with a 12, another 12, a 6, and then a 38. He had the exact same net worth that I did without ever getting a job when he was 21. I had to work really, really hard, really successfully in a sales career to get the same place. So don't limit yourself to that, but that's where I was at. And that's the hurdle that I had to get over to buy bigger. So duplex for me.
So how many deals did you look at before you wrote an offer on that duplex?
I only really looked at 3 or 4.
Okay.
There were a few, I looked at stuff online and just quickly was able to go, okay, that doesn't work, that doesn't work, that doesn't. So you probably have 100 things that pop up Zillow that you just instantly that's too expensive. This one actually came up off market, property management company I was involved with, just mentioned, hey, do you happen to have a buyer for this deal? And I looked at it and I was like, I do, it's me. Funny enough, Cody and I are all about relationships. Cody learned it because he had to seller finance and actually meet the sellers to get the financing. For me, I started by buying the property. Funny enough, the seller of that property is on the other side of that wall. We share an office with them. So talk about having strong network and strong relationships. Yeah. That's how the game's played. But I only really analyzed 3 or 4 deals till I found something that cash flow positive, an 8% return on my investment in year 1. I think it was 8.5%, which was my minimum.
Good.
And I was like, we can't do it if I don't say yes.
Was it a home run?
No, not at all. It moved me forward. It was really stressful for me. I got really caught up on, I wanted $1,000 off for some of the stuff that came up in inspection. The seller actually raised the price just a little bit from what we had verbally agreed on. So I was like, well, I've already given a little bit. They'll probably give a little bit. And they just responded, no, I like this property. I don't need to sell it.
That was the market then, yeah.
Yeah, and so I had to get over I'm like, does $1,000 really make a difference on a $400,000 purchase? Right. And does that blow up the deal for me? Would I have bought it for this $1,000? And the answer is yes. Mm-hmm. I see a lot of people, especially wholesalers, which is why we don't wholesale. I see a lot of people get nervous about little fees, little problems. There might be a root incursion in the sewer. Yeah. Does it blow up the deal? No. But people have a habit of going, oh my gosh, it's not perfect. I'm going to wholesale it to someone else, take a fee, and then I'm going to spend that fee on a new car. Don't do that.
Right. When you bought that, were you planning to just hold it a year? Was that the plan, just 1 year?
My plan for everything that I buy is hold it forever.
See, yeah. So we know that rents are going to go up, right? And prices should go up, even though they're cyclical. But your analysis didn't just say, I'm just going to hold this for a year, and if it doesn't work today, that means it's a failure, right? A flop. So.
And my original target was to buy enough real estate so that my real estate buys my real estate. I had a home mortgage that was about $2,100 a month. Mm-hmm. This solved $500 a month of that problem the day I closed. So I'm like, hey, I'm a quarter of the way there. The next duplex I bought happened to be a home run, and that brought me basically net zero. My 2 rentals pay for my home mortgage, and now I have a unit I live in, 4 units rented out, and it's like I'm house hacking. Right. I'm not attached to those units, but effectively the same strategy.
So what's your plan with that duplex? Yeah.
That duplex, I've thought about rolling it up into something bigger. That's what I did with my other duplex.
Creating momentum?
Yeah, creating some momentum. However, that I partner with Cody on all the portfolio. My house and that duplex are the 2 assets I own, just my wife and I. My wife also loves that property. So I think on that property, there's some renovations we'd like to do. The upper unit is a 5-bed, 1-bath. I feel terrible for that bathroom. At some point, the correct usage is to come in there when the tenant moves out. We have a long-term tenant who loves it, so no reason to change it yet. But when they move out, I'll turn one of the upstairs bathroom or bedrooms into a bathroom. A 2-4 makes a lot more sense to me than a 5-1. Right. So we'll do some renovations, and I'll just hold that forever. I'll pay it off, and that will just be my little landmark first property we ever bought.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's the story, not to have analysis paralysis, actually take some action, knowing that first deal, maybe the second or even third is not going to be a home run, but you'll eventually get there. And one of them is going to be a home run eventually. So if you want to learn more about what Cody and Christian do, follow them in the link below to Cody and Christian Multifamily. Those guys are just blowing up like crazy. I'm so proud of them. They're just killing it. And so if you want to connect with me, also just hit some links below, and we appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Last piece of advice. Can I give an after the credits reel?
Please do.
Okay. I want to just hit this one more time. Don't limit yourself to a duplex. I know that was my story. You don't have to do that. You have my permission. Everyone the 27% of people who watch till the end of a video. To the rest of you remaining, you have my permission to buy bigger real estate. Don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself to grand slams, base hits, duplex, 4-plex, 28-plex. Buy real estate that cash flows, makes sense, and works for you. Christian out.